Hey Philly, do you want to learn more about what is in the fiscal year 2022 budget? Stay tuned to find out. The FY22 budget continues Mayor Kenney's priorities of health equity for all, quality education for all, a safer and more just Philadelphia, inclusive growth and thriving neighborhoods, and a diverse, inclusive, efficient, and effective government. The city divides its budget into two main types: operating and capital. Let's start with talking about our operating budget. The operating budget funds day-to-day services and programs like trash collection and building inspections. Before we can discuss how we plan to spend your money, we must first share what our projected revenues will be. For the general fund, the city is estimated to receive a total of $5.26 billion in FY22 revenues. The largest portion of our revenues come from local taxes like wage tax, with an estimated $3.42 billion. Other funding comes from fines and fees, aid from state and federal governments, and revenue from other city funds. Here are some of the highlights of the FY22 revenues. The $575 million in ARP funds will help to restart Philadelphia's economy. The resident tax rate is at its lowest levels in 50 years. For the general fund, the city plans to spend a total of $5.27 billion in FY22. The largest portion goes toward employee benefits and repayments of borrowing, followed by investments in our fire, police, and criminal justice institutions for a safer and more just Philadelphia. The general fund also makes investments in programs that support job growth, housing stability, and small businesses for an inclusive economy and thriving neighborhoods. Additionally, investments are made to the city government to provide diverse, inclusive, efficient, and effective services to Philadelphians. Examples of investments in this category include technology upgrades and trainings for staff. The general fund also makes investments to provide quality education and health equity for all. Money from the general fund used to support education and health services are combined with money from other sources like state and federal aid. Here are some of the highlights of the FY22 general fund expenditures. The city is dedicating $155.7 million to reduce and prevent violence. Combined with investments in education, anti-poverty initiatives, and economic development activities, the city's commitment to anti-violence totals hundreds of millions of dollars each year. The FY22 budget also includes investments in education for PHL Pre-K, community schools, the school district, the Community College of Philadelphia, and the Octavius Cotto Scholarship. Investments in education is the fastest growing area of the budget during the Kenney administration. The school district has a separate operating and capital budget. The $1.7 billion total investment in education is the biggest use of local tax dollars and includes money from the city's general fund. Now let's discuss the capital budget. The capital budget allows the city of Philadelphia to make long-term investments in physical things like buildings, roads and infrastructure, and in major information technology systems that help run the city. In fiscal year 2022, the City of Philadelphia will allocate $274 million to make improvements to community facilities like parks and libraries, other public buildings like offices and fire stations, major tools needed to deliver city services like IT systems and trash trucks, and major infrastructure investments to include the largest single-year investment in paving in the city's history. Here are some of the investment highlights of the FY22 capital budget. $132 million for street resurfacing and reconstruction and ADA ramps, $10 million for FDR Park to support the construction of the Welcome Center, playground construction and design costs, $22 million for economic development projects under Commerce, The fiscal year 2022 budget focuses on providing core services, maintaining the city's long-term fiscal health, reducing racial disparities, and advancing equitable outcomes for all Philadelphians. To learn more about the City of Philadelphia's operating and capital budgets, please visit phila.gov/finance.